Hello everybody, Dark Skeleton here, and today I wanted to commentate on a match that I just played, which was Malygos Warlock, or a rough version of it that I just kind of threw together, versus a very standard Control Warrior deck with all the ins and outs that you would expect from it, like Shield Slam, Sylvanas, Dr. Boom, Alexstrasza, and I'm sure you had a Grommash Hellscream in there somewhere. And why I'm commentating on this video is because the Warrior, although he has a really good deck, and he probably had a strong chance of defeating me, simply because of the matchup, he played his cards rather poorly, so this video should demonstrate how not to play a Control Warrior, or at least some of the major mistakes that this guy made, which very likely were the deciding factor in him losing this match. So him armoring up, that's perfectly fine. That's pretty standard for a Control Warrior if you're not going to go ahead and throw Fiery War Axe on the board. But if there's nothing on the board, because I haven't put a Zombie Chow on yet, why would you bother putting the axe out? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It depends. And he just keeps armoring up. That's not too big of a deal. One downside to that, of course, is that it does let my Zombie Chows get free value, because Zombie Chows don't heal armor, they only heal HP. So this is the potential for me to get through a lot of his armor without him ever, getting really the chance to heal from the Zombie Chows. Possibly, anyway. So right now, he's not going up against too threatening of a board. That's not really the problem. This is definitely a pretty much control versus control kind of matchup. The idea of Malygos is, of course, to try to build up to Malygos, reduce the mana cost with Emperor Therazan, and then just burst them down after that. So it's about surviving till that point. And then Control Warrior is very similar, of course, because you're just trying to kind of survive till turn 8 or 9, then Alexstrasza your opponent's face, and Grommash Hellscream combo. So in a sense, these decks are actually very similar. Even in the fact that I only have one taunt in the whole deck. Now, he played a Harrison Jones, that's fine. There are no weapons that a Warlock would have aside from the Jaraxxus Claw, which you might not even want a Harrison, because you're going to get like 8 cards or something like that, which can make you overdraw. So him playing the Harrison right there, not too big of a deal, especially if he realizes that I'm not a standard handlock. Many handlock decks, I think, don't even run Zombie Chow. Some of them might. So his plays right here, they're not bad. They're just fine. I mean, going for the card draw by pinging the Acolyte with his Cruel Taskmaster, setting up a board, which basically he probably expects, oh, okay, I'll just trade my Zombie Chows into the higher value minions. Which is one option, for sure. And I actually have to think about this one, because that, it's not really that unscary of a board. If he was to go face with that, because he has no threat of really taking too much damage until my Zombie Chows is gone. If he went face, he'd probably have 10 damage next turn, so I definitely have to clear his stuff. And that would have been my my decision either way. I was thinking between a Shadow Flame or a Dark Bomb plus Kazan Mystic. Kazan Mystic basically being like a Harrison Jones in this matchup. Not useful at all because there's no secrets in there. I have it in there just because there's so many mages and hunters out there right now that, sometimes you can get some really good value and instantly win games like that. But I do keep one Zombie Chow alive because he has a 2-2, so the Dark Bomb allows me to do that and clear his board. But I think this is about the turn where he starts messing up. He goes to 3 armor and then he shield slams a 4-3 minion. He should realize, and I'm sure he does, that I am playing a very controlled deck. There are much bigger minions in my deck. Namely Malygos, namely, my Sunwalker. Anything that has 4 health, 4 attack, there's a lot of 5-cost minions in there. The Blackwing Corruptors, Azure Drakes, Harrison Jones, and then, most importantly, Emperor Therazan. So him just using the Shield Slam right there is really, it's a really liberal use of his Shield Slam. If he had a Fiery War Axe or even a, Death Spite, then that would have been a much better way to remove it. So he's already not spending his cards efficiently. Turn 7 Dr. Boom, that's a fine play. That's actually standard if you have Dr. Boom. Sadly, I don't have one, so I have to make do without it. But the downside to Dr. Boom is, of course, it's a BGH target. So my Malygos deck has no BGH targets, so sometimes it's actually a bit of a liability to have Dr. Boom. But not often. It's a sick card. Of course you play Dr. Boom if you have it. Generally any deck that's remotely controlled. So I do clear his board because what I do kind of fear is the Brawl that can come out at any time. Control Warriors always have one Brawl, assuming they're playing a standard deck list, which this guy has shown to basically be doing. I would not be surprised one bit if he just net decked the whole thing from a Legend deck. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a solid deck, and if you want to win at Ranked, you gotta play the solid decks. So here he does go for the Brawl. Kind of glad I did get rid of the little boom bots. I think it would have been it could have been a lot worse if I didn't remove them. So he shield slams my Azure Drake as well. That is a little bit questionable. You know, if I was him, I would be wondering, does this guy play Molten Giants? Does this guy play Mountain Giants? If he just shield slammed those things, and then starts to execute my guys, assuming I don't have Molten Giants, then that's really opening yourself up to die horribly. Now, you could make the argument, okay, well, he probably already has an answer to everything else in the deck, but the thing you gotta remember about Shield Slam is it is pretty much the best removal in the game when you have the armor to do it, and a Control Warrior always has the armor to do it, almost always, unless he's really losing hard, which he's not. It's, at this point, it's kind of a even field, even chance of winning, except for the fact that he's wasting his best removal cards. And this is the turn, I think, where he even executes a 4-1 Drake. I think that's what he does right now. Yeah, and that's just a bad play. Why would you do that? Not only is an Azure Drake just kind of a moderate minion, not necessarily the best target for a execute, but you're already running out of your removal spells. What happens when I play Emperor Tharzan? What happens when I play Malygos? You have no answers as a Control Warrior to those kinds of things if I keep clearing your field, which is what I intend to do. So he keeps using his best spells on stuff that isn't really that relevant. It's not like I'm going to rush him down. He's still up 34 HP. It's not like those are the best targets, because they're not. Clearly they shouldn't be. Any kind of Warlock who's this slow playing to turn 10. It's not a zoo deck. You can find better targets for those kinds of cards. Now here he does play an Alexstrasza, and what I'm fearing is the Grommash Hellscream play. I think on the previous turn I did play a Healbot, didn't I? And that may have been a mistake. You know, it's debatable, because you gotta stay out of range of combo, but you also have to hold on to your healing until the Alexstrasza comes down if you can help it. So it's a little bit tricky as the Warlock. But his big health reducer is down, so now what I have to do is, first off, get rid of that weapon so he can't Grommash me. And secondly, if I can, heal myself back up, and then I should be pretty much good to go, because he's already used Boom, he's used Alexstrasza, and Grommash Hellscream is a threat. But the thing that makes it the biggest threat is when it has the possibility to burst you down. Here, I don't need to play the heal bot, because I know that Grommash can't kill you from 16 HP. He could Cruel Taskmaster it, but I think that, which is pretty much the best way to do Grommash, only makes it a 12 attack minion. And if he does that, I clear Grommash and his dude, and basically I just heal myself back up and win the game. So he also drops his last execute, which means he's completely out of removal on Harrison Jones. And even stranger, he hits my 5-4 with the War Axe, which I guess it's just a desperation play from him. But if you thought about it for like 2 seconds, I'm probably just gonna trade into the Shield Maiden. If I was him, yeah, I give him the well played there, because I know he's dead. Like, what's he gonna do? Grommash me from 24 HP with no Alexstrasza? No, he's toast. He used up all his removal. I still have tons of really reasonably powerful stuff, especially Malygos, which is the main threat of the deck. And he's got nothing. He's got 2 cards in hand. He might have a Gramash, but a Gramash that can't kill people is just... It's not great. Playing your Gramash in many cases is kind of like conceding if you don't make the kill with it, unless you're sure you can make the kill the next turn. But there's no way a warrior can do 24 damage from this point, because all the minions that a warrior plays are going to be slow. Well, that's not entirely accurate. If he had Ragnaros in his deck, maybe he could get there, but it's super unlikely. And now I have Emperor Tharzan. He has no chance to answer that. No chance. He used both Shield Slams, he used both Executes, and I think 3 of his weapons are down at this point. Not that a weapon could kill Emperor Tharzan outright anyway. If he had Death Spite and the 1/2 token, that would be good. So the only reason he's not dead right now is because he's a warrior, and not even Malygos Burst is enough to get through that immediately. But all I need to do is basically keep clearing whatever he puts out, hit him in the face with the residual damage, and he's good. I do have the option of either playing the Blackwing Corruptor or the Mortal Coil here. I kind of wanted to save Mortal Coil for Malygos, but at the same time, what else is he really going to play that I desperately need to Mortal Coil? I think getting that is just fine. You'll notice I'm almost out of cards, but I have everything in my hand I need to kill him with. I have 2 Hellfires, 2 Soulfires. And while the Soulfires can discard the Hellfires, with a board like that, I can get him down to Beast basically being dead really easily. And if he had a second Brawl, that might actually still make it a game. Maybe. But the problem is, he's used his Executes. He could have executed the Twilight Drake. That would have been much better than a 4/1 Azure Drake. But he didn't. He wasted his removal spells, which in a control versus control matchup is how you lose the game. The person who gets more value out of their cards generally wins control versus control, because nobody is killing each other anytime soon. This, essentially, it went to fatigue. Now, I don't drop Malygos, and I don't drop the Faceless Manipulator here, because I don't want to overcommit to the board. Even though I basically have this game in the bag, those are my last 5 minions. And just in case, I want to have them available to play them for the purposes I need them for, in whatever situation comes up. But here the plan is, okay, he plays whatever the hell he has in his hand. I don't care. I'm just going to burst the crap out of him. Malygos, of course, +5 spell damage means 8 damage Hellfires, 9 damage Soulfires. Put in 3 of those, and that's like 27 damage, something like that. With the board, it's more than enough to kill him. And something you can think about is like the Soulfire would discard. It could discard Hellfire or Soulfire, but it would matter if the Soulfire discarded Soulfire. But that's the only case. So there you go, a warrior who basically threw the game. Not because his deck was bad, but because he just played his Executes and Shield Slams incorrectly. And that's how you lose with Warrior.